Good afternoon, everyone. We could come together. It is 1 o'clock, and we will start, as always, with our Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start the formal meeting, I have a proclamation to read in honor of Pride Month. And this month is the 57th annual Pride celebration across the country. And as many of you know, it was originally in commemoration of the dedication and bravery of those who led the 1969 uprising at Stonewall Tavern in Greenwich Village, New York. And that sparked the modern LGBTQIA plus liberation movement, not just here, but across the globe. And the city of Raleigh just wants to take this opportunity to say that we believe in working together with all members of our community to facilitate open relationships, provide safety, dignity, and a welcoming environment for our residents and visitors. And we also want to recognize the meaningful contributions made by the LGBTQIA plus community to enhance our city's diverse history and culture, including Raleigh Pride, which has been celebrated here many years, and the LGBTQ Center of Raleigh, which is now relocated back downtown and brings thousands of people together every year. So we join with the community in a celebration of diversity and unity and remain committed to treating all people with fairness and respect. And so I, therefore, Mayor of the City of Raleigh, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim June 2026 as Pride Month. I appreciate all of y'all, supporting that that motion. Proclamation. Okay, we now have our consent agenda, and we had nothing pulled from that. So if we have a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, all in favor of the consent agenda, aye. All opposed, nay, and that is unanimous. And we will move on to the report and recommendation of the Planning Commission.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, members of council. My name is Bynum Walter. I work in the Planning and Development Department. I'm also joined this afternoon by Dwight Otwell, Chair of the Planning Commission. As usual, a list of upcoming holidays for your consideration. We have a lot of public hearings scheduled for the 2nd June meeting. A number of annexations and rezonings ahead. I believe there are also some other items from other departments in addition to planning and development business. And at this time, there's nothing scheduled for the July 7 afternoon or evening public hearing. So we're suggesting all of the items coming out of Planning Commission today for that July 7. This says 1 p.m. I would actually think you would say 7 p.m. But that is at your discretion, of course. So 4 items, and I'll talk a little bit about each of these. So the first is Z4625. This is on West Street. The request is changing the height from 5 to 7 stories in the downtown mixed-use district. This is the location of the Fairweather, and they are asking for additional height to allow them to finish some existing unfinished space in their building to keep them in compliance with height regulations. This is consistent with the comprehensive plan, with the future land use map. Planning Commission recommends approval. The second request is on Blue Ridge Road at Lake Boone Trail. This is our own Rex Hospital. They're rezoning about 61 acres from an office mixed-use district to a campus special district. The request is consistent with the future land use map and the comprehensive plan. Planning Commission recommends approval. We have suggested a July 7 public hearing. The applicant has requested a June 16 public hearing. They would like to keep things moving. The third item is the other Litchford Road request. This is farther north of the item you will hear at public hearing tonight. This is just over 20 acres, going from a mix of districts to R6 with conditions. The request is consistent with future land use map as well as the comprehensive plan. The Planning Commission recommends approval, again, suggesting that July 7 public hearing. And then one more, this is Z1126. This is on Stratford Court, the west side of Lassiter Mill, south of the I-440 Beltline. This is less than an acre, going from R2 to R4. It's consistent with future land use map as well as the comprehensive plan. Again, the Planning Commission recommends approval. We just note this would allow greater residential density or greater lot coverage. Again, finally, suggest public hearing July 7. What questions could I answer for you, or could Chair Otwell answer for you?
Okay, start with Counselor Jones, and then Counselor Lambert Melton, and then Patton and Mitch and Silver.
Thank you so much. Just for scheduling purposes, I did note that in consent, we also did just set 5 public hearings for annexations. So with these additions, that brings us up to 9. We currently have 10 on June 16th, so I would be in favor of moving, because it's kind of here or there, moving the recs to the 16th. And then just having a question, if in July we could possibly do the 1 o'clock and seeing how council feels like that instead of the 7 o'clock. I just wanted to put that on the table as thoughts.
Just to confirm, the annexations that we just set through consent are for set. Do we specify the time? They're set for 7?
They would be for the first meeting of the month. They would be suggested for the evening meeting.
Okay.
Unless,
So the action we just took would leave them at 7 unless we.
as a council, we can move them
Got it.
because we're in the same meeting. Is that correct, Madam Attorney?
Okay, and then I know we're, Counselor Lambert Melton, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, my question was on the Fairweather rezoning. Understand the request. I'm just confused why they had to do that. I mean, the building's already constructed. They already have the room on site. Why do they have to rezone just to be able to use it?
So the way that the regulations are written around feet and height in stories, I'm sorry, just in stories. As I understand, it's a mezzanine space, and so finishing it would count as a story, which would put them above the 5 stories.
And could we maybe get some more information from our planning staff just on whether this is a one-off rare occurrence or if this was a thing that maybe needs to be looked at in the code to fix? Because obviously it's a great deal of time and expense to do a rezoning just to finish a room in a building that's already built. And all that cost is being obviously pushed on to the folks that are living there. It's a condo building, so we'd just like to get some information to see if we need to do a fix.
Of course.
Okay, Counselor Patton.
So that was one of mine, so I won't ask that. My second question was around the Rex Hospital rezoning, and it might be for Chair Otwell. I'm just curious about any conversations related to internal movement within the campus. I understand, like, UDO will require additions of bike lanes or whatever is appropriate, but internal to the campus, did y'all have any discussions around, like?
So the question, well, thank you for having me. Good afternoon. The question was discussions about pedestrian circulation inside the campus.
Yeah, pedestrian or bike. I'm assuming people would want to bike right up to the.
We actually deferred the case for one cycle to ask the applicant to address just that issue. They added some more language about internal circulation and connection and a micro mobility or alternate mobility hub to go into one of the primary buildings when and if it goes in.
Okay.
And there was a small typo on the staff presentation. There was one vote against. It was me. So
Okay.
just for the record.
And so then maybe you can elaborate. So you asked for this change. They made something they thought spoke to the intention. You found it to not meet.
My primary concern was always about the frontage, and I realize that most of the frontage rules are inappropriate in this case. It's a special case, but I was concerned about parking garages fronting on Blue Ridge and Lake Boone.
Got it. Okay. Helpful. Thank you.
Okay, Counselor Silver.
My question was somewhat similar to Councilmember Jones, looking at the number of afternoon cases on June 16th and then July 7th. So I'll see how this conversation evolves, but that was what my question was about. Most are annexations on the 16th, but that seems to be a lot for an afternoon hearing.
Yeah, I also see, I mean, we have New Bern, we have some others, what I considered smaller ones, non-contentious, but we have almost an equal amount on the 16th and on the 7th. So at first I was going to be like, how can we, if we can move things around? But honestly, it's going to be, either way, we're going to have 2 busy days for it. So I thought the only change that I would want to see is making sure that Rex got onto the 16th, if that's okay with council. And then as I was talking to Councilor Branch, we were thinking, instead of it being 1 and 7, making them all one time frame. And maybe the 1 o'clock, because it's our last meeting, would be the best. So we're treating it like a second or third Tuesday, second meeting. But that was just my thoughts and seeing if anybody else is open to that.
I just thought about something. We have public comment
yeah.
on that meeting, so it doesn't matter. We still have to come back at 7.
Decision made.
So scratch it.
So
I mean,
putting all,
there could still be value, right? Like, right now, public comment is its own thing at 7 p.m. most months. So in your proposal, right, if we move all the cases, all the annexations and rezonings to 1 p.m. on July 2nd, then July 2nd at 7 p.m. is still just public comment as is common for our other months, so.
I welcome a motion, whatever y'all prefer.
I'm going to move to schedule as stated, but moving the Rex campus project over to the 16th, and then moving all rezonings to the 1 p.m. slot.
And the annexation.
And the annexations, I'm sorry, annexations and rezonings to the 1 o'clock slot.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Is that clear enough?
If not, all in favor of that motion, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. So that has it, and we appreciate it. Okay. Next, we have the report of the city manager.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We just have one item in today's report, and it is an update on the urban heat resiliency work that has been done out of our Office of Sustainability. We have Megan Anderson here to present this item.
Hello, Mayor and Council. Good to see you today. Megan Anderson with Sustainability. We are excited to talk a little bit more about advancing our urban heat work and our resilience. So with that, I'll jump right in. All right, so we are going to provide a brief overview of urban heat initiatives and then celebrate the heat tabletop that we recently completed, and then a little bit about what's next. As you know, our Community Climate Action Plan focuses on key objectives, and this work around urban heat lines up with many of the things that we do around building community resilience to the impacts of climate change and focusing in on that social impact. Raleigh's top climate impacts are heat and flooding, and so this work overlaps a lot with that work as well. Today is actually Heat Action Day globally, so we are really excited to be here today to talk about this important topic on a day when people are talking about it around the world. As well as Governor Stein recently announced Heat Safety Week in the past couple weeks, so we are not only talking about this topic globally, we're also talking about how important it is locally as well. So for the Raleigh Heat Tabletop exercise, we were really grateful to partner sustainability with the fire department, emergency operations, and then emergency communications in our communications department. Grateful for a partnership with the Duke Energy Foundation for a grant, and we had over 40 city departments and community organizations as part of this work. In addition to city departments in the county, we had federal, state, National Weather Service representatives, as well as local community leaders, including those representing disability advocates, the Hispanic community, environmental justice and energy burden organizations, organizations representing people experiencing homelessness, and more. So the main objectives of this work included developing a shared understanding and awareness among stakeholders of community heat impacts and response strategies, fostering stronger communication channels and networks to ensure unified messaging and response during a heat crisis, and uncovering recommendations for long-term heat mitigation and resilience strategies to be implemented in the city's plans, including Raleigh's Community Climate Action Plan, our strategic plan, and the 2050 comprehensive plan. And so some of the key takeaways from this included effective heat response requires clear, accessible, and culturally informed communication. Response systems must address immediate community needs, and building long-term heat resilience means strengthening relationships, infrastructure, and community capacity. So with that, we are going to play a short video that really highlights a lot of those community-based organizations that were part of this work.
Extreme heat is becoming a bigger challenge for Raleigh, and preparing for it takes all of us. Earlier this year, the city brought scientists and community partners together for a 2-day heat resilience tabletop exercise.
One big thing is that you guys incorporated us as nonprofits and other community agencies to be part of the conversation, because we can bring other lens to the planning and the response that is going to happen when it happens.
The information we receive from you all is digestible and applicable to our residents so that they can understand that, hey, the city is a trusted partner and we are here to be the conduit to get that information to you all.
I do have a lot of confidence that we are moving in the right direction. There's always going to be more work that everyone can do and steps that we can all take. That is never going to end. But I think the important thing is that we are all having that conversation and we are motivated to take those steps and see what that looks like and how we can work together to move that needle forward and make lasting change more sustainable, not just for us as individuals or community organizations, but for Raleigh as a city or the county or us as a society as a whole.
All right, thank you so much to Communications who partnered with us to put that together, and of course to all the community-based organizations that took part with us. We were actually one of the first in the country to ever include community-based organizations in a heat tabletop like this. And so a couple things on what's next. So Council has the strategic plan that has a focus on urban heat, on cooling the city's hottest areas. They are going to be working on surveys with the community on thinking about what that looks like for the community. We're also informing the 2050 comprehensive plan for urban heat mitigation related to urban form and transportation. And the sustainability is also going to be leading work with Duke University on a heat-ready framework for Raleigh's heat governance. And we're going to be working across the organization on this in the coming months. And then we also, as Council knows, we have already been embedded quite a lot of urban heat mitigation strategies into the city, including using data to help prioritize neighborhoods of the most need for infrastructure. This includes street trees, cool pavement technologies, and green infrastructure. We're now working with IT and national partners to create new microscale heat data that will be used to update the current urban heat map for Raleigh. And of course, as always, the city partners with Wake County on heat days and cooling centers to get information out to the community. And the city has heat policies we will continue to inform as part of the work that we're doing. So we look forward to coming back to you as we continue to do this work with more information. So with that, just wanted to say a big thank you to Council for supporting this work. And if you had any questions, happy to answer those as well.
Councilor Silver, thank you.
Megan, thank you for the presentation. You actually said one of the words I wanted to just reiterate about cooling cities. So this is so important as our climate gets warmer and warmer, and that's the street trees. Mm-hmm. You know, as you start working with parks and planning, that it's not just street trees, it's street trees that provide shade. And with that comes also the side of the width of the sidewalk as well as where the building starts. If it's very narrow, that limits the type of shade tree you can provide. So I'm just hoping you dive a little bit deeper when it comes to those street trees. If we're warming, as you know, being under a tree or a shade reduces the temperature by at least 10 degrees. And so I think that is critically important as we go forward. We had a full conversation yesterday about the Leaf Out program, but to me, this is where there's alignment between the Urban Resilience Project and adding more canopy, particularly on sidewalks, so that we can keep our places cool. So just want to make sure I'm putting it out there, because I did notice you said street trees, but also the comprehensive plan, just want to make sure that will be a focus going forward, because that is a critical way of making sure that our pedestrians and those enjoying our parks and public spaces can stay cool.
To your point, a big shout out to Parks. They've been one of the early adopters when we first had our urban heat data. They were able to think about, because we have limited time and resources, how to include the urban heat data to make sure that we're meeting the areas that need it most first. And they've been able to build that into even grants and things that they've gotten over time. So as we're getting this new data, they're one of our first partners to make sure that we're thinking about that. And as there's a lot of work happening around street trees, as you know. Yeah. And so urban heat is a big conversation that we have as part of that work, to your point.
Thank you.
Councilor Patton.
Hi, thanks for this. The slide with the micro scale data. Yes, that. I'm curious, so we know we've done like the urban tree canopy study, but a lot of these are so massive in their scale, they occur like at a decade increment, and then a lot changes in between. And I'm curious if this work is going to enable like more real-time reaction, or like occurring in a more frequent increment as our city is changing a lot in the decades that pass.
That's a great question, and to your point, yes, this act can actually provide a lot more updated data more often, and so it's going to actually be projections, but then we're going to have real-time data to kind of check that all the time. They actually reached out, some of the groups we're working with, to New York and Raleigh quite a few years ago because of the work we were doing on heat and our climate in general, to start working on some of these models. A lot of cities just look at pavement and things to kind of decide where they're going to put, but we actually look at the actual urban heat and the wind patterns and things as well, to think about what that really looks like, because on different days, it actually could look different in different neighborhoods based on that. So there's a lot of data there, and we're actually trying to work with the technical experts to then talk with practitioners on how do we actually just use this to make decisions day to day. So a lot of good conversations happening there.
Awesome.
I had a couple questions. Appreciate this topic and all of the good work being done. One thing that I had heard was, of course, we partner with Wake County as their cooling centers, right? And some of those centers do not have backup generators. And I just wondered, do we know, how resilient are the cooling centers? Because if you really have a power outage and people are looking to go to the cooling center, and that's the first line of defense, and they don't have backup, do we have a sense of that?
That is a great question. So we've been having a lot of conversations with the county and parks and other departments about what that looks like for relief. So we also can provide quite a bit of relief in our buildings that are open during that time. But the official cooling centers are with the county, as you mentioned. I'm not specifically clear on which buildings have backup generators at this point, but as we continue to have those conversations, we can definitely bring that up and understand a little bit more about what those cooling centers look like. And that was a big topic of conversation during the tabletop, was what next steps look like, and talking about community needs around cooling during those times, and what that looks like is something that we're looking to explore further with the county. And they were at the table, obviously, during the heat tabletop, and really engaged as well. Yeah, please.
Rand Northam, Assistant Communications Director. I just wanted to mention one specific terminology that's very important in these as well. We will talk about cooling centers in the city of Raleigh on a regular basis, what's open, where you can go to beat the heat. And shelters, activating cooling shelters, is something that Wake County will do on an emergency basis, much like we do in winter weather as well. Shelters will be open when we lose services, and Wake County makes sure that the shelters that are open are resilient. Those are shelters that would have backup energy, backup power, and resources that would last in need of the loss of services. So it is a little bit of nuance with the terminology, and that's important, but cooling centers are places you can go to beat the heat during normal business hours, and emergency shelters are ones that Wake County will open when conditions warrant that.
Thank you for that. Yep. And then just a second question is, and this may be a longer conversation offline, but as you look at investments in heat mitigation, what are the first priorities? Councilor Silver mentioned street trees and shade along sidewalks. I know when we were in Phoenix, they talked about the corners where people may be having to wait, right, for stoplights to cross and trying to provide shade. You show a lot of pictures of playgrounds with tarps so that children can play. Just in general, what are the top priorities as you look at Raleigh?
I think that's a great question, and the beauty of being able to build this into things like our long-term comprehensive plan is that each site may have different needs, and also resources are limited, right? And so trying to prioritize, have a menu of things that are heat mitigation strategies, and then thinking about where they can be looked at, because transportation options for folks when they're waiting for the bus or walking to the bus stop versus in a park are going to be very different. And there's also lower cost and higher cost infrastructure that takes a lot more time to plan to happen. And so those are all the things that we're thinking about. And we are working on kind of thinking about what a guidebook looks like. And we have a lot of information there about different urban heat strategies that are different cost perspectives and a good use in certain situations. Even certain bus stops might have different strategies just based on the site, location, and other needs as well. So lots to kind of put together there. The beauty of this urban heat data is we're able to kind of hone in closer in neighborhoods and kind of think about where we need to prioritize first based on uses, and including this community-based organizations helps us hone in on folks that are most vulnerable as well to make sure those folks are top of mind when we're thinking about strategies.
Thanks. Other questions? Yeah, Councilor Patton.
Two more from me. One, kind of building on that, on the strategies. You mentioned the comprehensive plan, which is a guidance document. It's not a regulatory document. And I wonder if, as you're developing this, if you are not already, encourage consideration for regulatory updates as well. If you are building new construction in an urban heat island, maybe, as appropriate, you have to plant a bigger tree, or the types of trees are narrow. You don't get to select from the whole tree list because you have to produce one that's going to be a shade-producing tree as opposed to another, like an ornamental one, or some, I don't know exactly what the full scope of them could be, but I would say that just don't only use the guidance documents, consider, regulatory options as well.
Thank you for bringing that up. Absolutely. Our team works really closely with planning and development, and they were definitely there talking about the comprehensive plan and the work they do at the community-based organization exercise. And so that will be what we're looking at. As you know, in North Carolina, we have to kind of look at that full spectrum when we can regulate something versus create an incentive or another type of public-private partnership opportunity. So we'll be looking at that full spectrum, kind of to the mayor's question before, putting together strategies and levers that we can pull in certain situations will absolutely be all those things that we're juggling along the way, for sure.
And then my last one is a little bit to the side of the topic, but related to heat overall. We learned a little bit about cooling centers and shelters, and that's a helpful distinction. I'm also we have a lot of employees who do work outdoors and in really hot conditions, like picking up the garbage or paving the roads, which are just blasting asphalt heat back to them. So can you speak to how we protect our employees during the hot months?
Absolutely, and others may want to jump in here, but we've been having a lot of conversations. There are existing policies and safety committees and things that speak about this throughout the summer. Each department has also different protocols that they use, and I think there's excitement and acknowledgement that there's continued work that we can do as we learn more and more as well about organizing that and creating some consistencies. But making sure folks have water, shade, rest are top of mind. And a lot of the lingo that we're using all the time is harping on those at all those points. And so there's different working hours, different strategies, different technologies and things that are being used to make sure that we're keeping people safe as well.
And so to add to that, Councilmember Patton, we're pulling all that information together as I committed last week, and we hopefully will have it by the end of this week.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, that concludes my report today. Only thing I have left to say is go Canes.
I will say Corey from the LGBTQ Center came in late, so if I'm happy to present you with the proclamation that we read earlier. Okay, there you are. I can.
Do it now. We got time.
Okay, next we have the report and recommendation of the various committees, and I believe it is Transportation and Transit was the one that was active.
Yep. So we had a topic in Transportation and Transit Committee, which is the topic of traffic calming policy updates. So we got a lot of information on what types of treatments are used and why there might be multiple treatments used on a road at one time, and some data on like how often different interventions are successful. And so there were two policy considerations for us that the committee opined on. One related to speed limit reductions, line of sight, and stop sign implementation, which we currently, this body does through the consent agenda, approves through the consent agenda, and the speed limit reductions are approved by a neighborhood ballot, but almost always clear. What a notable piece of data that we were given is that there's been 700 speed limit reductions and only 2 of them haven't passed the ballot. And so the recommendation is to delegate approval of those changes to the transportation director, which will allow them to move much faster and save a lot of time, because preparing those neighborhood ballots just takes a lot of time. So that was one recommendation out of the committee. The other one related to the actual traffic calming installations, as the council will know, like that if you still have a problem after your speed limit's reduced, then you can go through this long process. There's public engagement and there's a neighborhood ballot, and sometimes these projects still fail even once the problem is identified and the whole community engagement has been done. Sometimes multiple times they're coming before us, and so the policy recommendation that was voted out of committee is to eliminate the neighborhood balloting at that step, and that if the problem persists and the problem is identified based on an objective threshold, you will get the project. The community engagement element, where they go through and put forward a survey where neighbors can say, I like speed bumps and not speed humps, or I don't want those many traffic circles. All of that part where they get to provide their feedback will still exist, but it's just sort of you are definitely going to get some kind of intervention. And so those were the 2 recommendations of the committee for the consideration of the council.
Councilor Fort.
Yeah, I had a chance to go back and watch the meeting, and there are a couple things that were concerning to me, and maybe I misunderstood it, but it sounds like if something's been installed, there's like a 3-year waiting period to ask for removal of whatever's been installed. And there are a couple of streets, particularly Councilmember Branch's district, that folks have sort of flagged for me, State Street being one. I mean, there's a lot of consternation about what's been implemented on that street. The second one is Martin Street, and I've actually gone on Martin Street several times and almost, I've watched people almost have accidents and run into parked cars trying to navigate what's actually been put in there. And that's something I've seen for myself. And so a 3-year waiting period seems to be incredibly long if there's something wrong with what's been what's been installed. And so I think we need to take a look at some of the policies about if there's some concern about a neighborhood or the community, safety risks or some other things, what's a more efficient process for neighbors to bring that back if things don't work? So that was kind of what I got out of watching your committee meeting on YouTube.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, if I could.
Yep.
Because Martin Street was brought up in our conversation, and what we learned is that some of the installments there are temporary because there's going to be some stormwater and other major work that's going to be put in place. And staff said they will continue to review that street in particular and to see what changes and things may need to be made. So that street was called out in the meeting and is on
Yeah, but
the
if people are about to have accidents now, I mean, I know it's temporary, but you don't want to wait until something happens and then they say, well, we'll take it up. I mean, I literally sat I sat and watched people almost hit parked cars trying to navigate it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a let's wait and see situation
Have
on
we
Market
passed
Street.
that information on to staff? Because this is the first I've heard of it with it being in my district. So if it could be passed on, so I can follow with staff.
Or if you go out there and sit and watch, you'll see it for yourself.
Thank you.
Yep, Counselor Jones.
Is it possible to have transportation, because we were at that committee meeting, and I don't remember, is it a 2-year waiting period or was it a 3-year? It was 3.
It's going from downtown towards the church.
Will Shoemaker, Transportation. So with that, for the wider neighborhood vote asking to remove the project, that is a 3-year wait period. But in the interim, we're always evaluating, and if there's a safety concern, we're going to act now. There's not a 3-year hiatus on any changes. It's just simply if the neighborhood is unhappy and they want to remove the project as a whole, they have to wait 3 years before they can take that action.
Right, that's right. That was for the ballot, not for any safety measures that could be put in place. This is just for the ballot has to wait 3 years.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Well, I'll just weigh in to say, when you said 700 initiatives and only 2 were defeated on the ballot, I mean, that's pretty compelling to me that we should automate some of this, because I'm just observing the amount of time and administrative expense for things that are fundamentally public safety issues. So I appreciate the work of the committee, and in general, there may be some tweaks on what you're suggesting, but in general, I am supportive of that. Yes, Councilor Silva.
I don't know whether Will or Councilmember Patton, you can answer this question. Why the 3 years? Is there something about the 3 years? Is it the cost? Is it, because I'm trying to understand if something's in place a year versus 3 years, if something is going to be problematic, I think it'll surface straight away.
And going back, if it is problematic, we want to fix it as soon as we know that there's a problem, or if we don't want to create a crass issue and wait an X number of times. So that, if there's a real problem, we want to fix it now. We chose 3. It is a little bit of an arbitrary number just because when things go in, people react. We need to let the new normal set in. So we do after studies at that 6 to 9 month mark to really let things stabilize so we know exactly how people are using it or how that's changed behavior. And then that next step would be if the neighborhood is dissatisfied. We chose 3 years. If you as a council want to change that to be less, that would be certainly something that you could do. It was just a time period that we felt like it would establish, and then if people were really dissatisfied with it, that they could remove. So
I may be the only one. I'd be satisfied with less, but.
So
You're not by yourself.
I just have a question, so I'm understanding this correctly. If it's a safety issue, you will deal with it right away.
Correct.
If it's, I just don't like it, it's a 3-year wait.
Correct.
Okay.
And there's expense to install it, there's expense to remove it. So we would have to consider that as a pro or a con, right? We want to spend our money removing things that are solving a safety issue that had been identified.
Well, and if I can weigh in on another portion of it, so let's use State Street as an example. I was at a community meeting where there was some conversation about traffic calming being put in, but it was not descriptive to the community. And so what they actually got was not something that they anticipated that they were going to receive. And so, of course, they're unhappy with it. But and I saw this comment a lot in the YouTube meeting or the meeting that y'all had, there are some challenges as it relates to how things are being communicated to the neighborhoods, because it's not really definitive what you're putting in when it's being presented. And so then the outcome of that is you put something in, folks don't like it, and they say they don't like it, and you say, well, it's a 3-year waiting period for you to remove it because you don't like it. Well, if you're not communicating to folks up front and they can't visualize what's being installed, it seems unfair to make them wait for 3 years to have it removed when they weren't clear about what you were putting in the first place. And I think you sort of acknowledged that there were some communication challenges to the neighbors, that they don't always know what you're going to be putting in. It may be they want traffic calming, but they don't know exactly which devices are going to be installed or used. And so to me, that creates a lot of frustration when it's not, 100% clear about what's being installed as traffic calming.
So I think one thing we talked about, and we can continue to ask for updates on, is the storytelling of it, and how, like, maybe there's, I think we've seen some openness to the traffic calming program to tinker and iterate, and like maybe there's ways they can do more or different or better renderings, or like, renders that are multiple treatment options so folks can see them side by side when they're like weighing in on the online survey or something. So if it's helpful, I wonder maybe we get an update in a manager's update for consideration of a future committee item, is a manager's update on pros and cons to changing the 3-year waiting period to something shorter. I would say like an immediate look again at Martin and State Street, and then maybe just some.
We could
some
make a
commentary
motion
from
today
staff
on the speed limit. I mean, if it's 700 to 2, I'm willing to move on
Yeah,
that.
we can definitely take those two pieces in separate motions for sure, but I think some of these concerns are maybe a little outside what these direct motions are, so that sounds like more commentary on like how to better communicate to the public. And does that kind of match the areas of concern? Like how we're going to improve, like, plans for the next year's improvement of communication, immediate look at Martin and State Street, and then pros and cons to changing that removal period. And if we can get commentary from staff on those 3 items, we can take the 2 motions here now. That feels good. Okay. So I'll put forth the motion to delegate authority to the transportation director on the 3 things: speed limit reduction, line of sight, and multi-way stop signs. So moved. Okay.
All in favor of that motion, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. So that's unanimous.
Okay, and then the second motion would be to eliminate the neighborhood ballot from projects that clear the objective safety thresholds. So moved.
Second. All right, all in favor of that motion, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, thank you so much. All right, I think we now move to the report of Mayor and City Council, and we will start with Mayor Pro Tem Harrison.
Yeah, and Mayor, I did want to mention for the Housing and Environment Committee, a proposal for a discussion, it would be in August, around drinking water supply and quantity, quality issues. I know I've talked to Raleigh Water a little bit about this, and I can work with Nikki to kind of define more clearly. This could also be a work session, so Marshall, please direct, yeah. But basically, my understanding is we will have some new data on long-term drinking water supply options for Raleigh beyond Falls Lake into the future. Also, within the context of the recent drought, I'd like to hear about opportunities for residents and commercial entities to limit water use. So I know we did a lot of educational messaging as of recently. I'm curious on how effective it was to limit water use, as well as ongoing conservation measures that are needed year-round that we can just keep folks being aware of. And then finally, I think it would be helpful to have an after-incident report from the wastewater spill into Turkey Creek. Definitely open to Councilmember Jones's thoughts on that. I just thought that would be useful to hear how it went and any improvements that could be made in the future for those kinds of incidents.
Thank you so much. Yes, I agree.
So I guess, is that, that'll be a motion or?
Well, and I would just not to overly complicate, but having a bit of a regional, I think we've all talked about wanting to understand a little better, not just what Raleigh's doing, but how some of our neighboring towns who use Raleigh water, are they going to keep using Raleigh water? Or are they trying to get out? And just, water sewer capacity. A little bit of a better understanding of what's happening around us.
Yeah, we're certainly interconnected with a lot of municipalities, both upstream and downstream. So Marshall, do you need more details than that? Or
No, I think I have enough. I will get with staff tomorrow at management team, and we'll figure out whether it'll be better served through a work session or committee, and we'll get back with you.
That sounds
before.
great.
Okay.
Thank you. And then also, I just want to say go Canes and happy Pride. This is an exciting month. Just a reminder, we do have watching parties for the hockey games tonight and Thursday at Moore Square. Thanks to DRA for putting that on in a very quick time. And I'm sure the city of Raleigh has played a big role there. So thanks to everyone with your leadership. Also this Friday, it's First Friday Raleigh. There will be a family-friendly Pride-themed block party from 5 to 8 p.m. at Commerce Place on Martin Street in the Warehouse District. I'll be there playing bingo, so please come out. And there will be a District D Neighborhood Alliance meeting as usual on our third Saturday of the month. That'll be June 20th at 9:30 a.m. at the Crowder Center at Lake Johnson. We do have a guest speaker, also water-themed. Forrest Westall, the executive director of the Upper Neuse River Basin Association, is going to be joining us virtually to talk about municipal and county partnerships that help protect the Falls Lake drinking water supply.
Just one thing on a personal note, I want to wish an early happy birthday to my father, whose birthday is Thursday. He turns 90 years old. And other than that, I have no report.
Thank you. Yes, go Canes and happy Pride Month. I have just a few updates. District E community meeting will be on June 10th at La Cucina Italian Restaurant from 6 to 8 p.m. Our Decoding Democracy Book Club will meet on June 13th from 9:30 to 11:30 at New World Cafe on Durley Road. We will be starting Chapter 2 of the UDO. And then we actually officially began our community agenda review, where I review the agenda with residents so they understand what's happening at the council table twice a month. We started our sessions last night, and we'll continue that cadence of the Monday before, so last night, before the meetings. Our next virtual review will be on June 15th from 6 to 7:30. You can go to the initiative section on my website at ChristinaForrelli.com to sign up, and we'd love to have you. And then lastly, the employee recognition ceremony at Coastal Credit Music Park last week or 2 weeks ago was amazing. You guys did a phenomenal job, and the food was really, really delicious. Thank you. It was extremely hot that day, but thank you to staff for recognizing the vital role our employees play in making the city run, and congratulations to all of the honorees. We were proud to have you, so thank you.
So a couple of things. Of course, the Go Canes, and it is so exciting to have the Stanley Cup Finals, here starting today in Raleigh. My phone was ringing this morning because we had put some banners up on around town, and then some of those came down in a very unfortunate timing because of some prearranged things. We are working to get those back up. So just so if anybody's watching this, we are working on that, and certainly putting all of our support and want to celebrate the Canes in many ways, including lights on buildings, et cetera. Pride, I was happy to do the proclamation today, and appreciate that Raleigh is a welcoming and inclusive place. And then finally, it is also Gun Violence Prevention Month. I believe all of us got some gun violence T-shirts, prevention T-shirts, and I know the chief is doing a lot of work and a lot of events this month around that topic, and particularly concerned about youth and youth violence. So just appreciate his work and raising awareness of that critical issue.
I just have one item. Want to congratulate the City of Raleigh. They were one of many partners that received an award from the North Carolina American Society of Landscape Architects. They received an award for the South Park Heritage Trail. So I did see some members of staff, also the consultants. So again, just congratulations to at least those on staff as well as the consultants for a job well done.
All right. I have just a couple. One, wanted to shout out Raleigh Water. Recently, I, like the neglectful homeowner that I am, realized I needed to flush my hot water heater, which I had not done. I was very concerned that my negligence would be an expensive error. And but when the technician came out and serviced the water heater, I said, "How bad's the damage?" He's like, "Well, if you lived anywhere else, it would have been bad, but here in Raleigh, where the water's nice and clean and neutral, you're all good, and your negligence did not cost you $1 million." So, thanks, Whit. Also, items of note, I see that the Raleigh Transit Authority is deliberating on the R line, and I appreciate their deliberations, and I know that in the meantime, we're pausing the R line. I would just like to put a flag on that as they complete their deliberations, that be brought to the council in some kind of agenda item, or it can be signaled that it's appropriate to send it to committee, or however that's appropriate. Just want to put a flag in that one. And then the other item is, and this one I welcome some massaging on the best platform and timing. I would like to see this before we leave for the summer, which is the topic of like motorbike kids is how I call it in shorthand, but sort of aggressive e-bike behaviors on the greenways, as well as these sort of small motorcycles that the youths are using, and they're behaving aggressively on the sidewalks and on the roadways. I think engaging in some risky behaviors that are risky for both themselves and for other users of the sidewalks in public realm. And so I would love an item that both just sort of establishes the facts so that they're can be shared amongst residents more broadly, which, like, what is an e-bike? What is a motorcycle? Who can operate an e-bike? Or where can they be operated? What are the rules on the greenway? Just kind of like the facts of the matter. And then are there interventions in high traffic areas? I know that even at like community centers, sometimes these like motorbike or e-bike users are zipping right by a pedestrian. Can we put like traffic calming, quote unquote, in areas where there'd be a lot of walkers, like at an entrance to a community center? So interventions, and then others, like the last prong of interest is like opportunities for public awareness. Can we do a social media campaign? Can we use the SROs that are in schools to communicate appropriate behaviors? Can we run YouTube advertisements where kids are consuming media? Can we put a one-pager on the desk of the retailers so that, the appropriate and lawful behaviors are being communicated to the purchasers of these devices, and so on and so forth. I don't know which of these are possible, but I'd like for them to be considered. So, Madam Manager, do you have a preference on committee, work session?
We're already working on some of that since our conversation last week. So we've got to find out what we could legally do from the attorney's office in working with private businesses around this. So hopefully we'll be able to have something, don't want to overcommit, by next week, but for sure before you all go on break, that you guys can opine on how you would like to see it move forward. But we are pulling the various elements and pieces of that. Unfortunate, there's not a whole lot of control we have in that other than from the enforcement from the police side, but we're looking at it from a regulatory, from planning, as well as how from downtown public realm spaces, what authority we have. So, yeah, we should have something next week, and then we can determine what a follow-up would look like.
Okay, thank you.
First, go Canes. I was in Mexico over the weekend. About 23 of us were there for a birthday party, and they had the game on at a sports bar, and so we all watched it, which is just further proof that Raleigh is worldwide. So we got to watch them win Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And then, of course, happy Pride Month. There are events going on all month long. If you go to RaleighPrideNC.com, you can find the full calendar there. Of course, Out Raleigh Pride will be on Fayetteville Street June 27th, and a group of us will be there to read the Pride Proclamation again to the thousands of folks who will be out on the street celebrating. So I hope to see you at an event. I will be running the Run for Love 5K against my better judgment on Saturday. I run 2 races a year. It's a turkey trot and the 5K. So if you see me struggling, no, you didn't.
It's for love, right?
Got a couple things, and I'm gonna actually pass these down to folks. And yeah, and then everybody grab a shirt. I don't know. I'll fix the sizes later. Just grab a shirt right now.
I'm hoarding the one I want.
Does everybody have one?
I'm doing the same.
I think that's 8.
This is a large.
So I actually have a couple things. First, I want to say congratulations to all the folks who won Fred Fletcher Awards. Stephen Bentley and your team did a phenomenal job with a lot of community volunteers to do great work across the city throughout the year. So the mayor and I attended those awards last week. I also want to give a shout out to the City of Raleigh staff, the Community Engagement Department in particular, for the city cookout for the DMV site on Saturday. It was actually jam-packed full. Andrea did a wonderful job filling in for Taisha. And the city attorney and I, we held it down Saturday. So it was a great event. They had bounce houses, somebody cooking on the grill, so a lot of food was consumed, and also like a face painting, icy stand, and some community groups that joined to provide a variety of information for folks. So thank you to the community engagement team for the phenomenal job y'all did this weekend. And as you can see, they're purple folders and T-shirts, and we got this from one of our partners who does vitiligo awareness. This is also Vitiligo Awareness Month, and I got 2 things to read. This came in from Terrell Midget, and the first thing, he sent me a letter and then something for me to read as well. He was going to make these comments, but he had another engagement. So it's the letter to me is, Dear Councilmember Stormy Ford, there are moments in life that stay with you forever, not because of what was said from a podium or what was written in a proclamation, but because someone simply showed up when you needed them most. For most of my life, I hid my vitiligo behind makeup. It became a shield that allowed me to move through the world without answering questions, without stares, and without exposing the insecurities I carried since childhood. The day I decided to remove that shield and publicly reveal my vitiligo was one of the most difficult and vulnerable moments of my life. I wish I could tell you that I was full of confidence when I made that decision. Truth is, I wasn't. I was scared. I was uncertain. I was questioning whether I had made the right choice. And then something happened that I will never forget. You and your team were among the very first people to reach out. You didn't call because it was politically advantageous. You didn't call because you had to. You called because you cared. At a time when I felt exposed, vulnerable, and unsure of myself, your words provided comfort, encouragement, and strength. You reminded me, a little bit longer than I thought. You reminded me what I was doing mattered. More importantly, you reminded me that I mattered. That is what real leadership looks like. Leadership is not just standing in front of people when things are going well. Leadership is reaching out behind someone who is struggling and helping push them forward when they cannot see the path themselves. You did that for me. What you may not have realized at the time is that your support helped create a ripple effect that continues to this day. Because of the encouragement you gave me, I found the courage to keep going. And because I kept going, countless conversations were started, awareness was raised, events were created, proclamations were issued, buildings were illuminated, and most importantly, people living with vitiligo began to see themselves differently. Your support didn't just impact me, it helped impact the entire community. There are people today who walk a little taller, smile a little brighter, and feel a little less alone because leaders like you chose to stand beside us. For that, I will always be grateful. Thank you for seeing me when I was struggling to see myself. Thank you for providing a hand when I needed one. Thank you for using your platform to help me create a platform for others. And thank you for reminding me that true leadership is measured not by titles, but the lives we touch along the way. With heartfelt gratitude, Terrell Midget. And so he has prepared a statement too. And so there's a reason for the T-shirts. Dear Mayor, City Council members, and City of Raleigh staff, as we enter Vitiligo Awareness Month and prepare to observe World Vitiligo Day on June 25th, I would like to recognize the City of Raleigh for its longstanding support of the vitiligo community. Living with vitiligo has given me a unique perspective on the importance of visibility, acceptance, and inclusion. The city of Raleigh has consistently demonstrated its commitment to those values through proclamations recognizing Vitiligo Awareness Month and World Vitiligo Day, illumination of city-owned buildings in purple to raise awareness, and making city facilities available for advocacy, educational programs, and community gatherings. You have helped ensure that individuals living with vitiligo feel seen, valued, and welcome. These efforts may seem simple to some, but to those of us who have spent years educating the public and supporting individuals affected by vitiligo, they carry tremendous meaning. Your partnership has created opportunities for awareness, encouraged meaningful conversations, and inspired confidence in countless individuals and families. Raleigh has always been a city that embraces diversity and celebrates what makes each person unique. It is one of the many reasons I'm proud to call Raleigh home. The welcoming spirit of this city has allowed the vitiligo community to grow, connect, and thrive. As a small token of appreciation, I would like to present each member of the City Council with a commemorative Vitiligo Awareness Month t-shirt and wristband. These items represent not only awareness, but also the city's longstanding commitment to inclusion, acceptance, and support for a community that often goes unseen. Thank you for your continued partnership and for helping make Raleigh a place where people living with vitiligo know they belong. I love this city, and much of it is because of leaders like you who continue to make Raleigh a place where everyone is welcome, respected, and celebrated. With sincere appreciation, Terrell Midget. So I think he wants us to do like a picture with the t-shirts, and that's why I said I'm just giving them out now, and if you want to switch sizes later, I got some extras. Yeah, so hold them up or we can go up and do like a picture, but just something to commemorate the beginning of Vitiligo Awareness Month. And that's it for me today.
All right, thank you for all of those announcements and causes. Next, we have appointments.
Good afternoon. Jumping right in, first is Board of Adjustment, one alternate vacancy. Councilmember Jones has nominated Ralph Puccini, so that will be coming back on your next ballot. Next is Police Advisory Board, two alternate vacancies. Clinton Jones received 6 votes, Victoria Melbourne 5, so they would both be appointed to serve. And lastly, under appointments, Raleigh Historic Development Commission, 2 regular vacancies. We have 3 different nominees here that will be coming back. Jordan Ryland was nominated by council members Jones, Silver, Harrison, and Patton. Ian Dunn was nominated by council members Patton and Harrison, and Christian McKay was nominated by council member Jones. So those 3 names for those 2 vacancies will be coming back.
Thank you.
And then under nominations, the only one here is the Design Review Commission. A few things going on here. Term of Chris Roberts is expiring. He is not eligible for reappointment due to length of service. Coincidentally, resignation was submitted from your longest-serving alternate, Adon Casada. I believe he's moving outside city limits, which leaves you with 1 regular and 1 alternate vacancy. In reaching out to the next longest-serving alternate vacancy, Kara Blue, she does not wish to be considered for elevation. That correspondence was included in your agenda materials. And so the next longest serving, 3rd time's a charm, alternate member is Kate Charlin, who would like to be considered for elevation.
Move to appoint Kate Charlin.
Second. All right, all in favor of that motion, aye. Aye. All opposed, nay.
All right, so I will be bringing back the now 2 alternate vacancies. Also wanted to remind council, I believe it was in the agenda, that you still have a long-standing county vacancy. Staff will let you know once they make an appointment there. It's someone outside city limits, but within the ETJ. Cassidy, do you know the last time we sent through like a formal poke on that?
We do have frequent communication with the clerk's office with the county. If the council would like to do something more formal, we can surely do that as well.
I think if just an email to their clerk's office to lift it up on their next agenda for consideration.
Because there's two seats. There's this one and there's also planning, who
Yeah,
also
so
has a
planning-
county.
And planning, I haven't heard yet, but I was told that yesterday they might have made an appointment. And that was based off of the information that we forwarded to them. I believe Councilmember Patton had recommended. So I want to touch base with them to see what happened yesterday, and I'll report something back next meeting. But yes, that's a similar situation. Happy to reach out again. It's been about a year that the Design Review Commission one has been vacant. So we can definitely reach out again.
Do we have authority to, a year is a long time to have a vacancy. Do we have authority to review the designation of that spot and potentially convert it to an at-large?
I'll let the attorney confirm. I did look into this recently. It's a little bit different than Board of Adjustment, for example. There is baked-in language that if it's been a certain amount of time, the council can kind of override that and make an appointment. I do not believe that is in place for Design Review Commission, based off what we looked into.
We'll go back and take a look at that, though.
Okay. Yeah, that's a long time vacancy, so it would be nice if there was some stopgap.
Counselor Jones has a question as well.
And I just have one question, just a clarification for RHDC. I know we have the nomination for Ian Dunn, who served for 6 years on it. And then can you clarify how long does one need to be off a commission before restarting that 6-year clock?
Right. So Ian Dunn served on the RHDC from 2018 to 2026. So he served 3 2-year terms. Per city code, you need a 2-year break from the time you roll off. So his 2-year break will be through the end of June. So by the time he would serve another term, he would be eligible based off city code requirements.
So he served from 18 to 24, right?
Yes.
And then the 2-year term,
and
26
so,
would be up. Got it.
Yeah, plus 2, 2026. So he would be eligible again.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have the report and recommendation of the city attorney.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council. The City Attorney's Office is pleased to welcome Grace Anna McCray as our summer associate for 2026. Grace Anna is a rising third-year law student at North Carolina Central University School of Law and will be with our office through August. Grace Anna joins the office through the City Attorney's Office's ongoing intern and externship program. Each year, the office hosts law students through paid summer internships and academic year externships, which allow students to gain practical experience in municipal law. In the past, our office has hosted students from a variety of law schools, including North Carolina Central, Campbell, Duke, and UNC. Our program provides a pathway to careers in public service, with 3 of our former interns now serving as attorneys in municipal law offices, 2 with the City Attorney's Office of Raleigh, and 1 with the City Attorney's Office in Charlotte, but never mind that part. We are excited to have Grace Anna join the office this summer and remain committed to providing meaningful educational opportunities for future municipal attorneys and public servants, and additional information about our internship and externship opportunities is available on our webpage. That is all I have today.
Okay. Next, we have the report and recommendation of the city clerk.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Included with your agenda materials were draft minutes from your May 19th regular session for consideration of approval.
Move for approval of the minutes.
Second.
All in favor of that motion, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. And that passes. Next, we will go into closed session. Motion is in order pursuant to General Statute 143-318, 11A3, to consult with the city attorney in order to preserve attorney-client privilege and to consider and give instructions regarding the handling and/or settlement of a potential claim in the following matter: City of Raleigh versus Crossings Company Limited Partnership. So moved. All in favor of that? Aye. All opposed, nay. We will be heading into closed session. This is Mayor Janet Cowell, and I am reporting that council met in closed session, and we have nothing to report out. And the meeting is adjourned until 7 p.m.